It's April 27th. Welcome to YesToHellWith.com. Up to this point, we've examined the role of the prosecutor, the incentive structure, the charging process, and the withholding of evidence. Today, we move into what may be the most powerful and least understood mechanism in the entire system: plea bargaining. Now, understand this clearly. The vast majority of criminal cases do not go to trial, not even close. In fact, well over 90% are resolved through plea agreements. Let that sink in. Over 90%. The system that is presented as a search for truth rarely engages in that process. Instead, it resolves cases through negotiation. Now, on its surface, plea bargaining is presented as, well, efficient. It saves time, it reduces costs. It allows courts to function. And all of that may be true, but that is not the full picture. Because beneath that efficiency is pressure. And that pressure is not subtle, it is structural. Now consider how this works. A person is charged, often with multiple offenses, facing significant penalties. And then an offer is presented: plead guilty and receive a reduced sentence, or go to trial and face the full weight of the charges. This is known as the trial penalty. Go to trial and suffer more. Try to defend the truth and you'll pay. And that is very real. Now ask yourself, is that a voluntary choice, or is that a calculated pressure point? Because when the risk of trial becomes overwhelming, the decision is no longer about truth. It becomes about survival. Now bring this into the Liberty Dialogues framework, because this is where the distinction becomes clear. At this stage, we are dealing with obligation and enforcement, because a plea agreement is something very specific. It converts an allegation into an accepted obligation without requiring full proof. Because once a plea is entered, the need for the government to fully prove its case disappears. The process stops. The structure is bypassed and enforcement follows. Now here is the critical insight. Plea bargaining is not simply a legal tool, it is a mechanism of resolution that operates outside the full testing of the system. Because if every case required full proof, the system would slow dramatically. So instead, it relies upon agreement. Not necessarily truth, but agreement. Now understand this, an agreement made under pressure is not the same as an agreement made in freedom. Now most people believe that if someone pled guilty, they must be guilty. But within the Liberty Dialogues, that assumption does not stand. Because the question is not what was agreed to, the question is what was proven. And if nothing was fully proven, then the foundation of the outcome must be examined. Once a person enters plea negotiation, they abandon structural questioning from what is authority to what is the deal, and from what must be proven to what can I minimize. And in doing so, they step out of the framework. This is not about blaming individuals. This is about understanding the structure, because the system is designed to create that very pressure. So what is the response? Awareness, clarity, structure. To understand that a plea is not proof, that agreement is not validation, and that obligation must still be examined at its source. And as always, may truth reign supreme.